Here is Stefania Cassini, and you're watching Without Your Hat.
Yes, we're live here. Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal. I'm joined by the fine fellows here who made Blood Rites of the Vampyr. We have director Seb Godin.
Hello.
I think that's how you say your name properly.
Close enough.
Close enough, yeah. I'll never get it right. We have the monk himself here. Is not in monk attire, but he's looking pretty good. We got Anthony D.P. Mann.
That's right. As you can see, I've adopted some other habits for the...
Oh, okay. That's not holy water.
No, it's not. No, absolutely not. No, it's a pleasure to be here, Neal. Thank you for doing this.
Yes, thank you for being here. Producer, cinematographer, and editor, Brendan Petersen.
Hey.
And Hobo.
What's up? Yeah, I've played one about 10 times.
Yeah, I should have said played a hobo, not just a hobo.
I don't even have to dress up like one. I just look like one. So.
Typecasted, I guess.
Yeah.
Detective Rollin, John Keech.
Hey there.
Hello, it's good to see you. Good to meet you.
Yeah, it's fun being here. Fun seeing all your faces.
And the Tormented Man, which I think that's a good title just to keep. Tyler Oscar Levesque.
Hi there.
Hello.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you for being here. So it was fun. We get to watch the movie with everybody here on Facebook.
Yeah.
Was this anyone's first time seeing the movie?
It was my first time seeing it in its entirety. Actually, I'd seen a rough cut of the film, but it was fantastic to watch it tonight. Actually, and I was really impressed. There were a couple of moments I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But I did read the whole script, not just my lines. I promise.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's good that you weren't surprised by the dialogue or anything.
No.
So how did everyone get involved? Did you all know each other beforehand?
Well, Brendan and I had done a short film together in 2017. And when I decided I wanted to do a different approach with my next film, because I had done like a series of very gross horror comedies that were kind of effects heavy and they had like a lot of puppets and stuff. And then I decided I wanted to go closer to what made me want to make film in the first place, which was like classic European horror. So I went to Brendan with this idea and he loved it, and we conceived some ideas together and he asked to produce it, and that's how we got involved.
How about the actors here? Did you know Zeb beforehand or Brendan?
I owed a favor, and I'm paying off a debt for terrible. No,
that's how I'm here too.
I actually had the good fortune of meeting Seb years ago at a convention when I was screening a film, a Dracula film that I'd made that got a little bit of attention. And I remember meeting Seb and his enthusiasm. This is in 2012, I think. His enthusiasm was such that he was telling me all about how he wanted to be a filmmaker and how he was starting to dabble with short films, and it always stuck with me. And we stayed in touch over Facebook, and have become good friends over the past few years. And when the opportunity came up, and he said, "Would you be interested in coming to North Bay?" I jumped on it. But it's a pleasure to work with someone who has such a distinct voice, and who I truly believe is going to hit those goals that he set, and also to work with the fantastic cast and crew like Brendan, also known as Rasputin. Brendan is it's a marvelous cinematographer and one of the
Grizzly Adams, aka
Rasputin sounds a lot cooler though. I think I'm going with Anthony.
Brendan is one of the most cinematic individuals I've ever met. He lives and breathes film, and it's very inspiring. The cast and crew are great. Tyler has come on board some of a recent project that we did on my side of the fence here as well. So it was great to work with these people, and also Vicky, dear Vicky, Vicky did it.
Yeah, she's amazing in it.
Incredible. It was just wonderful to work with these folks. I'm very glad that I did get involved.
Tyler, how did you get involved?
So Sebastian and I go way back. We met in film school over a disagreement about the movie Spring Breakers, whether it was a good film or not.
For people who don't know Zeb, he's if he believes in something, he sticks to it. Which is good.
Yeah. So immediately off to a bad start there, but then that was quickly quashed, and from that developed a good personal friendship and as well as a great working relationship. So we've done countless films together over the years, and now I make it a point of if any time he asks me to do something, whether it's big or small, I'm there for it. I try to make a cameo at least in each and every one of his projects.
So can I ask, did you like it or not?
So I have to eat my words here, because I had initially not liked the film, and then as my tastes matured, I began to appreciate the work of Harmony Korine.
Okay.
So I like it now.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Zeb no longer hates you now.
That's right. Yeah. That was my buy-in. I had to watch the movie until I liked it.
And John, how did you get involved with everybody?
Well, I mean, I also knew Tyler and Sebastian similarly from film school. No such disagreements over the likes of Spring Breakers occurred. It's just, it really was more just casually meeting, getting to know, and falling into friendship with these folks. And I've been working with them as well on these movies. I've been working with Sebastian on all of his stuff that he's done, sort of
in North Bay at least.
Yeah. In all the stuff he's been doing in North Bay, I've been involved in, and I've been really enjoying being involved. It's a chance to work with people I trust. It's a chance to work with people I like working with, and to do what I like doing, be it acting or doing behind the scenes or whatever. I like this stuff. I like all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. So,
and he had the most epic mustache as well. I don't know if you've noticed that. It was this incredible. I was transfixed on it every time I saw it. It was marvelous.
It was so good, for sure.
To grow back.
Detective mustache for sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I just want to add, like, the moment my death scene was finished shooting, I went home, shaved it off,
hated it. You hated that mustache.
And went straight back to continue doing behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So was Anthony always going to be the monk?
So
was that your first choice?
Yeah, my because my whole the whole thing with it was that I said, well, if I'm going to make this very classical feeling vampire film, and it's being shot in Ontario, I need Ontario's Count Dracula. I need to have Anthony in it, because for people who don't know, Anthony has played Count Dracula. He's played the Phantom of the Opera. He's played Sherlock Holmes. If I'm forgetting anyone, Anthony, please correct me. But
and Ebenezer Scrooge as well.
Ebenezer Scrooge, and he's to my mind, he's the closest thing Ontario has to a Peter Cushing, to a Christopher Lee, so on and so forth. So I thought, if I'm going to do this movie, he needs to be in it. So I conceived that character for him.
Oh,
that's
wow.
very kind of. If I can just maybe insert an anecdote here. The character was originally written as a priest, rather than a monk. And I after I read the script I went back to Seb and I said, okay, why don't we make him, instead of a priest, let's make him a monk. And I have 3 points of reason for this. Okay, the first being, the costume is much more interesting visually, I felt. B, it's sort of a nod to Andrew Keech in Hammer's Dracula, the Prince of Darkness. And 3, the goddamn priest costume that I tried on didn't fit. In fact, it was so embarrassing. I thought, you know what? Let's just go with this giant brown muumuu, and we'll make him a monk all of a sudden. And Seb was open to it. So I may not have mentioned that to him, but I told him
on the Andrew Keech. Yeah, that's where you won me over.
It's our secret Tombs of the Blind Dead reference. I guess, right?
I like that too.
It's much more unique, because you see priests and stuff, but you hardly ever see a monk in anything modern.
Yeah, well, something that came to mind was the classic Universal films from the 30s. Those have kind of a timeless feel. You don't know when they're set, because people live in castles, but there's still cars and there's still electric light. So I thought having a priest would add this sense of not knowing where or when you are.
Mm-hmm. Brendan here, during the chat, he brought up that he thought you looked like Peter Lorre in one of the opening shots.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, he has just that kind of classic movie look to him. So does Vicky.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they all do. Like, that's part of, he just casts them well in that way.
Yeah. That camera angle makes you look very scary, by the way.
Who, me?
Yes, yeah. I like
Well,
it.
yeah,
I'm just saying it's
I look a lot more
intimidating.
scary than I am. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, that was dedication to grow the beard just to play the hobo, I think.
Yeah, I did it just for his movie. Yeah, it took 10 years and just for his movie.
Yeah.
It's like Boyhood.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Anthony brought up Vicky, who can't be here tonight, sadly, but she's amazing as the Vampyr. How did she come about to play the character?
Vicky acted in a film that John and I made together that Tyler also acted in called Dino Gore, which will hopefully be released soon. That was the last of my horror comedies, but she was in it, and she did some crazy contortion stuff. She had played Karen in a stage production of Night of the Living Dead, where I had seen her do this contortion stuff, so I had her on Dino Gore to do the same thing, and while doing it, I thought, wow, it'd be great to have a vampire that does some weird contortion-y stuff like that. So while shooting Dino Gore, I asked if she wanted to do this part.
Yeah, there's a couple scenes actually look painful to me where she's got like her face like on the floor, where she's like,
She loves it. She loves that stuff.
She's actually one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Although I found her completely terrifying on set, because the moment she was made up, she had this stare, like she became the character. I do remember shooting that very, very final scene. Seb, maybe you want to share this anecdote, but there was something that I said to you after that final scene where she lays over the monk, and it was. I'll let Seb relate because he tells it very well.
Well, we're shooting the confrontation sequence, and it ends with the Vampyr bending her back backwards and then vomiting blood into the monk's mouth. And when I said cut, Anthony just slowly stood up and said, "Well, that's the strangest thing I have ever shot in my entire life."
And it was so effective, and it was beautiful because it was actually Hershey's chocolate syrup, and that was one of the reasons why I made the drive to North Bay as well. You're feeding me chocolate. I'm there. I'm absolutely there.
Well, interesting. I was going to ask what was used for the blood, since it's in her mouth so much.
But
unfortunately, we can't cover the dental fees. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
The cavity.
and she,
but I mean. That certainly does speak, though, to the classic nature of this film. Now, you've mentioned, Brendan's just mentioned, how there's sort of an old school film feel to it, and Seb's mentioned the universals, and here you're using chocolate sauce, which is so old school, very, very practical. It's what they used in Psycho. It's what they used in countless films from that era. It was so cool to be part of something, and credit to Brendan and to Seb for and the crew for making it feel that way. But it really felt like it was a film that was. That the whole production itself was actually set during that classic era. It was much more tangible than standing in front of a green screen or using CGI or what have you. And that was a really pleasant experience.
Thank you.
So for the chocolate syrup, because I know you knew in advance you were going to make the movie black and white, but I don't believe you filmed it in black and white.
No, we didn't. And we have still a few of the unprocessed color stills. And the movie would have looked good in color, but I think it looks even better in black and white.
I can give like a technical answer if you want a little bit. Like these days, not too many cameras only shoot in black and white, but there are some digital cameras that exist that shoot in only black and white. But for the most part, you just shoot in color, and then in post you change it.
Mm-hmm. I was just wondering about the syrup, because while you're shooting it, like this is going to work.
Oh yeah, for sure. That part, yeah. Oh,
It's definitely where I didn't know it was chocolate syrup. So, because she's even rinsing her mouth around with the blood, which I don't really remember seeing in a movie before. I actually like that. It's kind of like she's savoring the flavor of it.
Here's the funny part. Vicky couldn't actually swallow any of it because she's lactose free.
Oh, really?
So that was the tricky part. I had to explain it. No, you don't need to swallow. In fact, let as much of it fall out as possible.
I swallowed.
We know you did.
Yeah, like it's a
If I
pretty
just cut that
known
part out,
trick.
people are going to get the
Boy.
wrong impression.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Like the chocolate sauce for black and white thing is a pretty known trick, and I think that's why Seb did it for sure.
Mhm.
It's that Night of the Living Dead and all that.
It's also easy and cheap.
It's easy,
Yeah.
it's cheap. And I always say too, like it's no secret that in most of Sebastian's films, I wind up dead on the floor. It happens and covered in chocolate syrup. And I say it's not a Sebastian Godin set unless I leave covered in chocolate syrup and have to clean it off my seatbelt and the inside of my car later on. So I can confirm it's chocolate syrup and it works.
What was it like filming your scenes with Vicky?
Scary, man. Like that's what I wanted to say is like there's a scene in the beginning where she's like writhing on top of me, and it's like when Sebastian calls action, it scares the shit out of you. It's like it's freaky, man. Because she is the sweetest person ever, but then something activates, and it's like, who is this? Yeah, like Skeletor contortionist on top of me. It's insane. Scary, man.
So that was real fear.
It was real. Yeah, I'm not that good of an actor. Yeah.
And since we just watched, there'll be some spoilers here. So if you're watching this later and you haven't seen the movie, maybe wait till you see the movie before you watch this. But throughout the movie, there's really no sound in the death scenes. There's score, but there's no sound from the actors until the final death scene, and then there's sound, which I thought was interesting.
Well, I love European genre film. This whole movie is kind of constructed as an homage to like Jean Rollin, Jess Franco, and even further back German filmmakers like Murnau. And those movies all have a very like dreamlike feel. So I spoke to Brendan about this, and we both agreed by doing that with the soundscape, we would sell that dreamy quality all the better.
Vic brought up that he felt Vicky was both childlike and creepy at the same time, which I don't know if that was something we're going for.
Yeah, like because she's like this malevolent presence, but she's a malevolent presence from centuries back, so she's completely lost. And I think that there's no matter how evil something is, if you take them out of their element, they're going to feel like a child again. So
yeah, that was just good casting too. So
yeah, she just sells it.
She has that kind of vibe that's like childlike but ancient at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of thing.
That's amazing because she's one of the most positive people that I've ever met. I'm on her Facebook page, and every day there's a message that, and usually the motivational messages don't work for me, but every so often she has one that's like, oh yeah, that just got the synapses rolling. So she's a lovely, lovely person.
Yeah. What kind of direction would you give her when she's playing the vampire? Because the movie is paced different than like a modern film, so it's a lot of like long shots and her just kind of moving around. And I would say just move around, but her, a lot of it is her movement. Yeah. And so I don't know if it was just how do you direct that?
Honestly, it was just as easy as Brendan and I would set the camera and we would compose the shot and he would tell me what would work. And once he was figuring it out, I would just tell Vicky, go there, do what feels right to you. It had a very improvisational element to it, the whole shoot. Go there, do what feels natural to you. Do what you, as the character, would do. And then I would just, I just set her free. Just let her go loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like all the dialogue is Seb's written stuff, and then we made up a few things to fill in the gaps. Like all the stuff with me, I kind of just proposed to Seb, like, hey, why don't I be a hobo?
Yeah,
and then he's like, okay, let's get you bitten on the hand, and he came up with all that.
Yeah, like the stuff with Brendan and the stuff with her encountering the other creature out in the park. That was stuff that was come up with like the day of shooting, pretty much.
So, how much like footage did you have to edit, down into the movie?
I'll leave that to Brendan.
It was pretty economic, where it's like pretty much everything that was shot was used. That's how we shoot now. It was maybe like 400 or 500 gigabytes, which is not very big, honestly.
I'd like to say just only because we haven't had a chance to chat about it, but having just been able to watch the movie and experience it from beginning to end, Brendan, I really have to commend your cinematography on this. I mean, the film looks amazing. Both you and Seb have just put together something that just it just bleeds creepiness, but I mean, it just looks beautiful, and it makes me proud to be part of the indie scene, knowing that artistry like this is running rampant.
Well, we're just both big fans of German expressionism, and I guess we tried to do that by being authentic as much as we can, I guess. In that
sentiment that came up, many times throughout the movie, people here have said, how beautiful the movie looked.
If I also may take a moment, I'd like to do a shout out to another actor who can't be with us today, Steve Kazan, who played our other detective, who came up and did all of his stuff in a single day over the course of John, you were there. It was like, what, 5 hours total with Steve?
Yeah, one take. Pretty much.
Yeah.
He was pretty efficient. He was more efficient with his sort of performative ability per screen time thing than I was. The
SD card.
I loved working with him.
It's like we got one take and then the card was full, so it was like, that's it.
There it is.
John, had you seen the movie finished before?
Not before today. Mm-hmm. But I quite enjoy. I hate that it took me this long to see it. My own fault. But I'm really happy I've seen it. There's a lot of stuff I love in it.
Yeah. Is it weird to watch a movie that you're part of? As a movie.
I'm gonna say no. I actually. I do a good job at sort of detaching myself from everything that I touch. Once I'm not on the set, it's just a movie to me, and I can enjoy it as someone who enjoys movies. But the part of the problem with that is I somewhere in my brain I pick apart every movie I see. So I'm going to pick it. So if I ever sound picky about something I'm in, it's not because I'm in it and I'm picking myself apart. It's just that's just how I am. But I quite enjoyed this.
Yeah. Did you film it all during the day or night? Or what time of the days did you film?
All day and all night.
Yeah, both, but even mix of both.
Yeah.
I think I had the opportunity
tonight. Go on, sorry.
I think I had the good fortune of shooting all my material during the day. They were two very, very long but fun days. And what I would do is I would actually leave the hotel and come back to the hotel in my full monk attire. And as I'd walk through the lobby, I would bless people, on the padre de filio de spiritus, bless you, my child. I forgive, I was all of your sins, wait to hear mine. But yeah, that was something else that was amazing to watch, was the efficiency with which everybody worked, but also just how diligently. It was a crack team of people who just loved filmmaking and who just were like, the schedule was tight, it was organized. Seb's a fantastic director. He has a very distinct vision. He will absolutely listen to suggestions you might have, and he's very open to incorporating them. Or if he feels that it kind of meshes, it doesn't mesh with this vision, he'll say, well, that's great, but you know what, we're going to do it this way. And I respect that. I really do respect that in a filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
We did have 3 students from Canadore as well that came to help us, because one of our old professors sent us as star students kind of thing.
Yeah, he sent us 3 or 4 students to help with lighting and sound, and one with makeup. So we really did have a crack team of film students on this, which is great.
It was a real crew for once.
Yeah, I've never had one of those.
Yeah. Well, since all your other films, they're very different, and
Yes.
And they're also a lot shorter. This is your longest movie. Does that, even though of course it's a longer movie, did that take longer to shoot, it being a longer movie than the shorts?
No, it took about as long as, say, like Animator or even Dinocore. We shot for what, 4 days, Brendan?
I would say more like 6.
6? Yeah, okay, that equals out. You were here for over a week, so.
And then if you count some B-roll, maybe more like 8 days, but 6 with the actors.
Yeah.
And you had lucky socks for the movie.
I did. You gave me those wonderful Dracula socks, which I never took off.
Oh,
Make what you will of that.
Very good, very good. Let's see. Jay Crawford in the chat, he said, how many times did you try to get the sky shot? And then Brendan mentioned that he did it all you got it all one shot one day. But you also said that you were just...
to get once.
Yeah, but you said that you just filmed that on your own. Like, so for stuff like that, did you just like happen to see cool things and like let me film this and put it in the movie?
Well, like I'm on the job as a cinematographer, so I'm thinking, okay, I need these cool scenes to show passage of time, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna need a time lapse of the sun going down. So I'm knowing that ahead of time. So I go out and I go, okay, the clouds look good today. So let's set up the camera, and you only really got one chance. The sun's gonna go down once, so you set it up. You just got to be patient. Just don't touch the camera for like half an hour. That's about it.
So, Tyler and the other actors, did Zeb have you guys watch like any movies so you knew like what kind of the style of acting for the film?
Yeah, nothing in particular, but I know what he's after. I think that comes from working with Sebastian so much over the years, is like kind of getting the flavor that he's going for. You know, it's like knowing a friend or something for a really long time. You develop a weird kind of like ESP. So reading the script and some visual references and stuff like that, I could see what he was driving at, you know, and then we had some conversations about it, tweaked things on the day. But, you know, that is like, to return to what Anthony had said, like that is the interesting thing about working with Sebastian is having that guidance, but then also the liberty to kind of do your own thing a little bit. So yeah, it was kind of a mix of all things, usually working with Seb.
And Anthony, Zeb said that you played Dracula and Phantom of the Opera. Where did you play those? In what?
I've had a lot of luck in my career. I was a film. I shouldn't say I was. I'm still a filmmaker. I just haven't made a movie in a few years. But I've made 5 feature films, all of which have worldwide distribution. I played Sherlock Holmes. We did an adaptation of Dracula, which is probably our biggest film because it was a faithful adaptation of the book. The Bram Stoker estate loved it. It's been screened. I've screened it over in Wales, and it's been seen all over the U.S. and in Canada. Got us in Fangoria magazine. So that was sort of a big one, and that's how I met Seb. We did a film called Ghost Keepers, which is a haunted house thing. We did a production of Phantom of the Opera, a film version, again going back to the original novel and doing our own thing with it. We even did a reality show to cast our Christine. And then I changed gears, and we did a musical film version of A Christmas Carol that featured Colin Baker from Doctor Who as Charles Dickens. And that was sort of my I'm taking a break from film project. And it did very well. It got picked up by PBS, and again, it's out there. And then I switched gears and I became a voice actor. I founded a company called Bleak December, and now we produce these wonderful full cast audio plays featuring some amazing people, some of my heroes, like we did Tony Todd as Dracula, Sir Derek Jacobi as Sherlock Holmes, David Warner. We've just done The Wicker Man. I play Sergeant Howie in that. I play Sergeant Howie opposite Brian Blessed as Lord Summerisle, and the biggest thing I suppose that I've been involved with in recent years is I voice a lot of the characters in an audio revival of the hilarious House of Frightenstein. So I'm the current voice incarnation of Count and Dr. Pet Vet, and for people who remember that show. So with my production company, I've had lots of opportunities to work with some legends in the world of entertainment. Malcolm McDowell was in Frightenstein, and yet I derived as much pleasure and joy from working on Seb Godin's Blood Rites of the Vampire with Brendan and Tyler and Vicky and all these, and John and all these wonderful people. You know, it's artists can be incredibly territorial and snooty individuals. There's a lot of vanity, but at the same time, artists also love artists, and I love the type of artist that loves to hang with other artists, because you can talk about film and everybody's on that vibe, and when you get that same vibe running through a production, creativity just bleeds, and it's a wonderful experience. It's like doing rep theater. And that's what it was like to work on Blood Rites of the Vampire. Vampyr.
John, because most of you guys are relatively young, what do you learn when you work with like a veteran actor like Anthony?
It always just kind of blows my mind to see someone, like when you're on set with someone and they're themselves and you're talking, and I know not every actor is like this. Some people, they're always in character. I've yet to see that entirely, but when, like on the set of Vampire in particular, I'm talking to Steve and to Anthony, and they're just nice, wonderful, personable people, and then they start acting, and that's something else. And it becomes something else, and you're watching three people who you are talking to at the same time, and it's pretty great actually. It's just kind of amazing to see, just on the set. It always just blows my mind.
Jay had brought up what I love too, but he said he loved the music, the score. If you can talk about who did the music.
It's mostly Brendan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's that one industrial, like doom doom when she attacks and stuff. My friend Nick did that one, but most of the stuff was just what I would call temporary music at first. And then it was one of those things where it's like, okay, actually, it's good. So,
yeah, it totally works. Have you done that for other movies before? Have you done the score?
Well, I've made music longer than I have filmed, so I guess it's just kind of a natural, thing.
Yeah. And Zeb, were you good with like all the music he used right away, or did you change anything?
Oh yeah, like well, when I had envisioned the movie, obviously I had pictured something a little more classical feeling, but it's something that Brent and I bonded over when we first met is that we both love the works of Shinya Tsukamoto, who directed Tetsuo the Iron Man. So we both have that same love for those really kind of aggressive but moody soundscapes and soundtracks, and I thought that this really reflected that.
Yeah, Chu Ishikawa is the guy who makes the soundtracks for Shinya.
Yeah. So I thought that added an extra layer of flavor to it that I really enjoyed.
And the actors, Anthony, like, what did you think when you see the finished film? Because obviously when you're making it, you don't know, what the sound's going to be like.
How do I feel about it?
The score in particular.
Oh, the score! I thought the score was fantastic, and we work with my production label. We work with a fellow by the name of Brent Holland who does these wonderful, lush orchestral scores. And if I was making this sort of film, that's where I would gravitate. So when I first heard the score, I was won over immediately because for me it's something it's a very, very different creative choice than I would have made, and yet I was completely won over by how well it works because it's very sparse, it's very unsettling, and there's a lot of bass movement in there that sort of kind of grabs you on a subconscious level. And that kind of just adds to the overall dread and creep of the film. Actually, to be perfectly honest, I couldn't picture another score with this film. And I'm blown away that Brendan did the majority of the music on this as well, because he's obviously a triple threat. But to answer your question, I thought it was fantastic.
Let's see. Joe Need. I don't know how to say your last name. Sorry, Joe. Joe says, "I love the use of space in the shots." So if that's something you'd like to talk about.
Well, I guess it's just from practice. Like, it's not the first feature I've ever shot, and I also went to a really good films where we got to film on real film. Like we shot on Bolexes, so I got to learn on the same camera that Steven Spielberg learned on and David Lynch, and so it's like I'm an educated cinematographer. I'm not just a guy running around with a camera. So that's why.
and Vicky really makes great use of the space.
Yeah.
She's
that's why it looks good, because Seb set up all this stuff to film. If that wasn't there, then
those locations, are they just things like you had in mind, like when you're in the area, like I'd like to use this at some point in time?
Yeah, I spent about a week well, I walk a lot at night. I do a lot of night walks, but I spent a week specifically walking around North Bay and thinking, that looks cool. That looks cool. I can see Vicky there, and so on and so forth. And even when Brendan came, we just walked around some more and kept finding new spots. That's where we found that cool house with the statues. That Brendan pointed that out to me. I would never have noticed it.
The tunnel thing.
Yeah, the tunnel. Exactly.
Yeah, I was like, we got to shoot in that tunnel. Okay, let's go to the tunnel.
I really like the stairs that are outside by the building, like the cement building.
The church. Yeah. Oh, you mean like the big
near the end? Yeah,
staircase?
Yeah. Like this.
Brendan and I called
Seb picked that one. Yeah.
Brendan and I called that shot and the shot of her against the wall right after our Eraserhead shots.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I also noticed two squirrels running by when I was walking down the street. I assumed that.
I was so excited when that happened. I was like, oh my god! And no one else was that excited. I love those.
Well, I share your excitement. I really liked it. Yeah.
Those happy accidents, I love those. Like,
yeah, I assumed you didn't have like a squirrel wrangler on set.
No, and I like how the one is gray, so it's kind of like the vampire chasing.
Yeah, it was almost like a black squirrel. The first one I've never seen before.
Yeah, those are from Manitoba.
Okay, yeah, I have a lot of squirrels here in Massachusetts, but no black ones like that. It's pretty cool. So, how about kind of like, as far as I know, you changed some of the mythology of traditional vampires, like she can go out in the sunlight, and was that stuff you changed, or is that from other movies? Kind of like a combination of different mythology. Something
that a lot of people forget is that in Bram Stoker's Dracula, the novel, vampires can go out in the daylight.
Oh, okay.
They don't have any powers. They're weak in the daylight, but they don't die. So yeah, that I took from it. And also, like, I just envision, like, the vampires being, like, it's less of, like, a living corpse in this film's world. It's more like an elemental, naturalistic, like, I kind of took some stuff from, like, different folklore with forest spirits and stuff like that. So
I like the stuff about information. That's the part I hadn't really heard before, how it's, like, things are information and that gives her power.
It's strange because... 2 months after we finished shooting, the BBC Netflix Dracula came out and they used the same thing.
Yeah, I was just actually thinking about that one. Yeah.
They used the same thing.
I haven't seen that, but
which I really liked. I know some people are split on it, but I thought it was great.
Yeah, well, we got cool statues to cut to while the narration is saying that. So,
of course, I need to also take a moment to mention Luke, who came all the way from Montreal to be in the film for a couple of days as our vampire hunter.
Yeah, he's awesome in it.
Yeah.
How did you know him?
He was in Slimoids. He came all the way again from Montreal for one day on Slimoids. And I think I felt bad. John and I, we only shot with him for like 2 hours that time. So I decided, well, if he's coming back, I'm going to make the role something where he has to be here for a couple of days.
I used to always introduce Seb as the guy who makes things, slimy things, but I can't use that anymore. So what does that mean for you to make something, like you said, that a different kind of movie and something that is more meaningful to you?
It was the most artistically satisfying experience of my life so far. And it's the only film of mine that I've made where I look at it and I say, I love it 100%. And I don't even love it as something I made. I love it as a film. Mm-hmm. I can't really say that about anything else I've done so far. Although I enjoy everything I've made to some extent, I guess. Mm-hmm. But no, this is the one where I felt the happiest with it, and I saw the most of myself in it.
Well, it was interesting because when last time I met you in Buffalo, Gregory Lamberson said that he thought you regressed as a filmmaker, and then I saw for this one, he said I kind of loved it. So
he said this was the one this was the real movie to him.
Says the guy who made Slime City.
Very true.
Talk about regression. Right? I like that movie. But.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For people who don't know, Gregory Lamberson is a big part in Zeb's life. He considers him his American father, I believe.
And he calls me his Canadian bastard.
A nice mutual respect there, I see. For Anthony, what was it like to play the scenes where the vampire is tormenting you, like in your dreams? Because it's primarily you. It's a very different kind of acting than like in a modern movie.
I'm almost ashamed to say that was actually my own nightgown that I wore as well.
Really?
I brought that with me. It's something that I picked up years ago, and I thought I can sleep in a nightshirt like an old Victorian. It was the most uncomfortable thing.
I sleep in one, or I used to.
But you know what? That sequence was great. It was fun. Again, I felt like I had the chance to. It was nice because I had the chance to flex my muscles as an actor, and not have to worry about being a filmmaker. All the headaches and all the hassles. Well, that was Seb and Brendan's problem, not mine. I got to just focus on acting, and what was nice is that we all, again, there's this creative vibe. Tyler and John and Luke, and I didn't get to work with Steve, but Vicky. Everybody was just so into it and had ideas and knew their characters, and just the whole thing flowed. So when we got to that nightmare sequence, it was a blast to shoot. And I think I actually had made the suggestion. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong here. But I think the hand reaching out, the tribute to Nosferatu, was something that I suggested giving a whack. And I was so happy to see it in the film, done so effectively, because Nosferatu is, that's the end all be all of vampire cinema. Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. Great to be on set.
Joe Niedebla, I'm sorry, going to say, great contrast in her body language from day to night. So was that something you thought about when making the movie?
Oh yeah, like I said, like going back to Dracula, the idea that the sunlight doesn't kill her, but she's weaker in it. So I thought, well, maybe it's like rigor mortis is set in during daytime, and then at night it comes flowing back. So I told her to walk very stiffly. I'm trying to remember what exactly it is I had in mind. I think there's a little bit of, for like how stilted the movements were, there's a little bit of Vampyr from Plan 9 from Outer Space in there.
You're all over the place there. So,
yeah, all over.
All the great films, Nosferatu and Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah, you couldn't see the Ed Wood influence? What are you talking about?
A wide gamut of inspirations.
Ed Wood influences both of us, so.
It's true, he does.
How about finding the right headstone for the near the end of the movie?
You mean that
pretty sweet?
The headstone that Tyler finds her at?
No, near the end of the movie, not the small one, but like I don't know if it's a headstone or what, but it's a big.
You mean the monument that she dances? That's a war memorial. That's in the middle of a public park that we went into at 1 a.m. and set up these big lights. And I was paranoid, keeping my eyes peeled for the police.
Well, you know how that started. I went, okay, parks usually have plugins that work. So let's go to the park and let's test the plugin. And if it works, then we'll set up all my lights. So that's what we did. So thanks to the North Bay municipality for the free hydro.
Amazing. Right outside of the Legion.
Yeah, right outside the Legion. That's right.
Was there any problems, filming out in public? Did anyone give you any issues?
No.
Actually, one time when Seb wasn't there, a homeless guy harassed me and Kiefer, and we had to literally go away because he was like, "Where's your permit?" Like he was trying to get money from us. So I guess in North Bay they know what's up. So the homeless people they know the film game.
Yeah. That's interesting.
In Thunder Bay they have no idea. Nobody does any film stuff. But.
Vic Schiavone wants to know how long did it take to finish the movie from beginning to end? So not just shooting it, but editing it all together.
I think I approached Brendan about working on the movie in June. Does that sound right to you, Brendan?
I'm not really sure.
It was sometime in the summer, so I'm going to say late June, early July. And so pre-production lasted about 2-3 months. Shooting lasted about a week. Then post-production was alarmingly fast. I want to say it was 3 or 4 months, Brendan?
I guess so. Like I did a lot of editing. Like
I know you're a maniac.
I edited like two feature films in that time too. So like my brain just is mush. I don't remember things.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say like from beginning to finish 7 months.
Yeah, which is kind of normal for a feature that
microfilm.
length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you wrote Anthony in as the monk or the priest originally. Jay wants to know about the other parts. Were there auditions?
Nah, I don't normally do auditions. I usually write with people in mind because I don't know anybody else. Mostly. But no, everybody just kind of fell into place. It's not really the kind of film where you want to get a performance. You just kind of want to watch somebody be themselves and like fit an archetype just by being there. And everyone just was perfect.
Along those lines, I know we watch it here and that was a lot of fun, but I do think if you could watch it, on the big screen in a dark movie theater and just get absorbed by the movie, that would be the ideal way to watch it.
Yeah, if we could afford it, we'd do it. But
we would four-wall it, but there are plans for like a couple of screenings here in North Bay at least, which will maybe not be a huge screen, but it'll allow people a chance to see it with an audience in a dark room where I can pick their pockets and.
Yeah, and then there was this whole global pandemic thing that happened.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Theaters might not exist anymore. I'm not sure if you heard, but
along those lines, what are the plans? Because obviously, in the last few months, the plans have changed to what to do with Blood Rites of the Vampyr.
Producer.
Oh, it's up to me now. I don't know. Like, we should probably try to put it on Vimeo on demand, I guess, if you want, or we can try to do. I know you like physical stuff, but that's hard to do without money. So you have to drop some money.
In one form or another, I think the idea right now is to just release it direct to market right now and gauge what the interest is there.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's two things there.
I pay annually for Vimeo. So
yeah, I was saying, because people can't go out right now, so they also do, or looking for entertainment. So you have that,
For sure.
I know it's disappointing not to be able to do like what you would want to do, and in an ideal.
The great thing about doing this is that by the time the pandemic ends, I might have another movie or 3 to screen. So,
are you working on stuff currently?
Probably.
Yes, we're running a Kickstarter campaign right now. Anthony and I conceived a very fun, strange, old-school Frankenstein movie called Abominations of Frankenstein, and we're running a Kickstarter for it right now. John is on board. He's our cinematographer for that one, and he also shot Slimoids and Dinogore. And Vicky is coming back, again playing a homicidal killer working for Dr. Frankenstein, and I'm playing the monster. So,
interesting. I'm very into this.
Tyler's in it as well, and Steve Kazan is coming back for it. So,
very good. So you said there's a campaign for that. It's on Kickstarter. People can go.
It is on Kickstarter. Look up Abominations of Frankenstein. There's a wonderful teaser trailer that where you get to see Anthony as Frankenstein and some bits of
Dr. Heinrich von Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So we've got a really, really interesting take on that character, and I'm looking forward to playing him because I think that's going to be an absolute hoot. It's going to be sinister. It's going to be Utokia. It's going to be something people have never seen before. Bring my creature to life.
Sure,
John edited an amazing teaser together from footage Anthony shot and that John shot, and check it out. It's great.
I think he's kind of hidden here, but we do have Frankenstein up here.
There he is. And
in this Q&A. Perfect.
It's going to be a fun one. It's a little bit Hammer, it's a little bit Franco, it's a little bit Andy Milligan. So again, a large gamut of influences.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that. As I've talked to Zeb before, that's my favorite of.
I have a bit of a
monsters.
fact.
Oh, John's got facts.
Vicky really liked the blood
really?
for Frankenstein a lot more than the blood for blood rights.
That's right, because it's in color, so it's got that bright.
I thought you meant just
irish.
taste-wise. But
No, she doesn't have to put anything in her mouth this
All right.
time.
All right. My mind just went to, it tastes good. Jay, we kind of touched on this, but Jay wants to know for the final shot, were her screams and cries added in after? And if not, did you advertise that you were making a movie?
We did not advertise it. No, those were live.
screams.
Those were real screams. I had shown her before we started shooting. I had shown her. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the movie Possession with Sam Neill and Isabella Gianni, but there's this great scene where Isabella Gianni has a mental breakdown in a subway tunnel, and I showed that scene to Vicky, and it's like, this is what you need to emulate, and she just went at it. She's just wild, and man, we shot. How long was that take, Brendan?
Yeah, that was a really good one take. I have to say, like, we really pulled that off. Like, it was kind of like a dance between me and Vicky. Like, we did that in one take. So, but like, I don't really know. Is it however long the shot is how long it was, I guess, right?
Yeah,
that's because we only did one try of that. So.
Mm-hmm.
Jay also want to know about the red filter. He assumes it used a red filter in a shot near the end. No, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, there was a red filter on a Fresnel.
On the light,
if that's what he means. So
okay.
It was kind of yes to both his questions, because he asked if it's a light. It's both. But yeah, it's specifically RE Fresnels. Like, they're really good lights. They cost quite a bit of money, so it wasn't cheap lighting.
I really love the end of the movie because I think it's hard to find something completely new to do with the vampire movie, and I don't remember ever seeing that particular idea for how the vampire's demise before.
Yeah, I just thought, well, vampires hate anything that's blessed. Well, wouldn't the blood of a holy person be blessed? So, and no, I don't think it has been done before, so I really liked it.
Yeah. And what was that scene like, Anthony, in the film, your death scene?
What was it like filming my death scene?
Yeah.
It was marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. I was savaged by this wonderful, wonderful woman. I mean, I can think of many worse ways to go. Again, I got to be honest. I mean, it was something new for me. I've done a fair bit, and I always get excited when there's something new. I thought the choreography was great. Seb had, again, a very distinct vision. Brendan knew exactly what he was doing with the cinematography. I felt very comfortable, and there was an idea that I threw out was while he's dying, or while he's being drained of his blood, start laughing hysterically. It starts off with screams and then laughing hysterically. I think that was my idea. Maybe I'm just taking credit for this, but I remember that's something that came together on set itself. And again, I was so happy to see how it turned out in the final film. Like I mentioned, the chocolate syrup being vomited into my mouth. That was different. It was tasty. It was quite tasty. But
I think it was different. Like, if you said that happens to you every weekend or something, I would.
Oh, just another Thursday night.
Yeah.
but again, the film that it was something different. It was exciting, and I knew as I was laying there being savaged, that this was going to look great on camera, because I had the utmost faith in this crew. Great, talented people.
Mm-hmm. Well, I really like the movie, and I've liked Zeb for a long time, and I definitely think this is your best movie.
Thank you so much.
And so, where can people follow? To see where it goes next.
Follow Blood Rites of the Vampyr on Facebook. We post whenever there's an update on the project, and hopefully there should be some news fairly soon. And yeah.
And where can you follow your other stuff? Melting Man Films. I guess let's look at Melting Man Films.
Yeah, you can look up Melting Man Films on Facebook. And if you really, really like me and you feel like having your Facebook feed clogged with very, very unpopular opinions on films, you can add me on Facebook, and if I like you, then maybe I'll let you into that circle.
Like how great Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is.
That's a conversation for another time.
I'm just throwing out a good example.
Right. Yeah, no, I read Zeb's posts all the time. And there are times I agree with him, and then there's times I was like, I don't know what he's thinking. But I like that about him. Brendan, where can people follow you?
Just Dark Slide Pictures on Facebook, or darkslidepictures.com is like my website. So that's a nice, easy way to find it all. And
Anthony.
Hi.
Hey.
Where can people find me? Well, we've got a website. It's Bleak December, just like the line from the Raven by Poe. Ought to sink there. I remember it was in the Bleak December. So bleakdecember.com, and of course my Facebook page as well, Anthony DP Man. We do a lot of promotion there. A lot of exciting things are always happening, and I also I love interacting with people, and I try and stay in touch as often as I can. So please check me out, follow me, see what's happening. All sorts of exciting things.
Yeah. Do you still have the monk robe?
I wish I had to give it back. It'd be fantastic. I'd be showing up and doing parties and first communions and things, and making cheese with my feet.
John, where can people follow you? If you want them to.
At the moment, probably with the Frankenstein, Abominations of Frankenstein, just keep what's up with that, and that's all I got for you right now.
No, it's totally cool. I probably wouldn't have social media either if it wasn't for the show and posting pictures of food I eat. But Tyler, where can people follow you?
Oh, geez, if you're interested, I'm on Instagram. Just search my name, I'll show up. And then I think I still have a Vimeo page with a bunch of video art on it. So if you want, you can go check that out too. Again, just search my name, you'll find me there.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate all of you guys coming on tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to be part of the film and to be part of the Q&A, and we hope people at home enjoyed it. And Seb and Brendan, I hope that this is big. I hope this is big and it goes far. And Neal, great show. It's been a pleasure being.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's great to talk with you. And Zeb's brought up your radio show before, and I need to check this out because it's right up my alley. I like the old school classic radio dramas with like Peter Lorre and stuff back in the day, and to have like a modern version sounds very interesting.
Check us out for sure.
Very good. All right, guys. Thanks everybody, and thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.